So in the book of Bill Simmons, named The Book of Basketball, there's a story where he and Isaiah Thomas, Bill Simmons and Isaiah Thomas, the old Isaiah Thomas, the one who played for the Detroit Pistons, the Bad Boys, there's this story where Bill Simmons asks Isaiah, can you tell me the secret about basketball? And Isaiah looks at him and he says, the secret about basketball has nothing to do with basketball. And Bill Simmons was surprised because what he wanted to ask is, how do you get success in basketball as a team? How do you progress as a team in basketball? Are there any, skills, drills? What are the secrets? Okay, and how do you achieve team success and individual success? And Isaiah told him the story when the Detroit Pistons back then, they had a player called Adrian Dantley, and he was a great scorer. But he was not. They had very good team success, and one year they wanted to trade him for Mark Aguirre. Mark Aguirre was a defender and like a 3-and-D guy you have right now in the NBA. He's like a Jay Crowder and PJ Tuckers and stuff like that. And what happened is that Mark Aguirre, when he came to the Pistons team, he gelled much more better than Adrian Dantley did. And it was not about skills. Adrian Dantley is much more skilled than Mark Aguirre. Adrian Dantley is one of the best scorers in the NBA in history. But Mark Aguirre knew his role, and he was socially much more social with the players. He was going out with the team. He was a fun guy to be around, and he knew his role. He knew that most of the shots were coming from Isaiah, Joe Dumars, and Bill Laimbeer. And he did his dirty work. And back then, that trade did not make sense because Adrian Dantley is a much better player, skill-wise. So we are coming now to our talk, where the secret about basketball is not about basketball, and you becoming a better player is actually correlated to your, we say here, mindset. Okay, and yes, it is mindset, but we're going to go much deeper in this topic. But actually, that is not that deep. It is very simple, yet through our daily lives, we forget about these things. Okay. So I want to tell another story about this particular topic, and then we're going to move on with some technical stuff on how to achieve it and what we are exactly talking about. The second story is about the Zen monk, Buddhist monk. He was a teacher, and he had his little students, and one of the students was always asking him, when am I going to get enlightened? When am I going to get enlightened? I want to get enlightened. Please, master, tell me. I'm going to do anything. And the master asked him, did you meditate this morning? And the young student says, yeah, I meditated for an hour, as you said, and it was really good. Did you brush your teeth? Yes, I did. Did you make your bed? Yes, teacher, I did all of those things. Did you wash your clothes? Yes. Did you take the morning walk? Yes. Did you have breakfast? Yes. Now go ahead and wash the dishes. So they were sitting at the breakfast table and talking about it. After breakfast, and the young student asking like, what? Go and wash the dishes. That's how you're going to enlighten yourself. And the young student was was baffled, and he was like, what if I meditate 2 hours a day? Will I get enlightened sooner? He said, if you meditate an hour a day, you will get enlightened in 10 years. If you meditate 2 hours a day, you will get enlightened in 20 years. So the secret about life, anything, but we're talking about basketball, it's not actually about basketball. It's about understanding your daily rhythms, understanding the sattvas, as we call in yoga. What are sattvas? Or not sattvas, I mean, my bad, gunas, the understanding of the gunas of the day, of the rhythms of the day, rhythms of the life, and understanding your perception of reality right now, being a scientist of your own life, as we talk here in Mindful Buckets, becoming the director of your life, not being too involved with the role, because the role will drain your energy. It's not bad to have your role; it will just drain your energy. So the gunas of daily gunas, we have rajas, tamas, and sattva, and they are changing throughout the day. So as I'm recording this, right now is noon, and is the rajas, is the guna of rajas, meaning the guna of passion. What that really means is that that's the time of the day where everything is active, and there's a lot of cortisol and dopamine and serotonin involved in the whole world, not in this part of the world, because we're in Europe, so it's noon. So from like 10 to 2 during the day is the rajas guna, meaning the passion guna, meaning the time where it's best for you to work and to have physical training, go somewhere and have where your mind is active. Okay, activities where your mind or body are really, really active, and that's the best time to work, actually. Okay, and those are the daily rhythms. Those are the rhythms of nature. And if you're not in sync with those rhythms, I'm not saying you should be in sync 100% of the time, but understanding that those rhythms are actually dictating the pace of the flow of life, the Tao, okay, as we say here. The flow that makes your nails grow, your hair grow, your beard grow, the flow that makes you feel one day here, one day here, one day a little bit down, and then you're, constantly having different ways of perceiving reality, or better yet, you wake up on this way, you wake up that way, and then you have to do your mental hygiene or whatever. But what I want to say is then, after the passion guna, you have your dark guna, meaning the guna of rest, where you should be resting. Like that's after lunch, from like 2 to 6. Okay, that's the guna when it's really getting. Mistake again. It's not from 2 to 6 is not the tamas guna. It's the sattva guna. It's the guna of balance, meaning after passion you have balance, and that's the best time to meditate, to do some stuff, to have your mental hygiene, art therapy. You can write down your thoughts, you can do yoga. That's the best time to do that. Okay, now is the best time around noon to work, to have something, so you are working physically, mentally, emotionally. Okay, from 2 to 6 is best to dim down, slow down, and have your activities on a lower scale, and maybe enjoy a cup of coffee and just stare at the sun, whatever. And then later on, we have the tamas guna. It's from like 6 to like 10 o'clock, 11, 12. It's not in yoga books. What I read is those gunas tend to change from book to book. So this is just my interpretation of them. Okay, it's like the last guna, the guna of the dark guna, the tamas. Even the word tamas is like dark. Is the guna where you have a lot of. It's the time for you to like go in some introspection and to kind of like slow down your energy and prepare for sleep. That's why they call it dark guna, okay? And all of a sudden, my room got a little bit darker, which is funny. So yeah, that's the tamas guna. And after you again you have the sattva guna, and they're intertwining during the day. So when rajas guna ends, the passion guna, then the balance guna comes. After the balance guna, there's the dark guna where you should be sleeping, etc. So what has to do that with basketball? I'm glad you asked again. So let's say you have Chris Paul, you have Russell Westbrook, okay, and you have Cameron Payne. Those three players. Chris Paul, Hall of Famer right now, still playing. Point guard. He's the best point guard probably in our lifetime so far. Russell Westbrook. We all know about Russ. He's special, but we all know he has much more potential than he actually shows, meaning that he's rushing a lot of things, and he would benefit the practice of meditation the most. And then we have like Cameron Payne. Why I put him is because he's really, really talented, and he's maybe the most talented scorer out of all those guys, not adding athleticism and IQ. Chris Paul has amazing IQ, Russ has amazing athleticism, but Cameron Payne, if you put him in practice and you don't even know you don't even know about them, you don't even know what they do, you will say, wow, Cameron Payne is probably the most talented one. Lefty, quick feet, amazing shooting ability. Like in practice, you can maybe, if you don't know that, you can maybe pick Cameron Payne as your first guard to start your team. But let's just say you don't know who Chris Paul is, who Russell Westbrook is. Okay, just you're coming from another galaxy and you never saw them play, and you see him in practice and you're like, wow, this guy. And he has like and what's funny, like he has a weird haircut and he looks like he looks like different than those two guys who are mostly like, I want to say bald, but I want to say like he looks also like a special player, you know. So now game starts and you have Chris Paul. He knows everything on the court. He knows every tendency about every player on the basketball court. He knows what he does the best and what every single teammate does the best, and he uplifts them with his spirit, with his leadership, and everybody is in their role, and all of a sudden you have the Phoenix Suns in the finals. You have OKC winning a lot of games that season. You have the Rockets in the Western Conference Finals almost beating the Warriors. You have the Clippers, Lob City. You have the Hornets being amazing. Okay, so, and then you have Russ, where everybody's talking about his triple doubles, but his teams don't have success. I mean, they had with Durant, KD, and James Harden, but when he was on other teams like a leader, his leadership is not that quite good. And then you have Cameron Payne, who's always playing off the bench, but has the all-star potential. You cannot tell me that he doesn't have all-star potential. He has, but he doesn't have the reliability throughout the whole season that he will play that way. So now we are coming to our thing. So why, when the game starts, you all of a sudden have players that are completely different? And we cannot say, as scientists of the game, because we study the game, we are scientists, and we are scientists of ourself, our ego, our mind, our personality, and understanding that who we are is much more broader than that. And as scientists, we cannot say, okay, this is because of Chris Paul is different than Cameron Payne because he's Chris Paul and he's Cameron Payne. No, that's not a good answer. So can I give you a good answer? Okay, can you listen to me, please? If you jokes aside, let's go. So I built categories. So we have reliability, truthfulness, courage, adaptability, and stability. Okay. And now we're going to put in those categories, we're going to put players who have the most. So these things are not based on skill. They are based on pure daily, everyday life activities from my own perception as I watched the game throughout my whole life, and what I can see intuitively when I look at those basketball. Our brothers are basketball players. I mean, our brothers. I mean, our you know, from Chris Paul, Cameron Payne, and Russell Westbrook. What I see exactly. I never met them, but this is just my own perception from my intuitive knowledge, what I can see. And as a scientist, I can call myself a scientist. Why not? This is my passion, to see where people's perceptions are, even though I haven't never met them. But I'm not criticizing. I'm just observing and just telling you how to become a better player, and to understand that the secret about basketball is not about basketball. Well, you got to do the skill work. You got to do the skill work. But skill work is number 2. Mindset is number 1. So let's go. So let's go with reliability. Reliability. What is being reliable? That's just the ability to respond to a certain task. Okay. And how do all of these skills you build brick by brick? We said that a vibration is a building block for the future. So you are building stuff brick by brick just by being reliable to your own self. So you will understand that all of these 5 categories are just being honest, exactly honest with yourself, and doing the things the way that you will do, even if the millions were watching you at that moment. And you gotta be honest to yourself. You gotta be reliable. So first, if you can be reliable to yourself, then you can be reliable to other people. So how can you be reliable to yourself? Doing the training sessions, every rep with 100% focus. Do you think Chris Paul does that? I bet he does. Russell Westbrook also does it. Cameron Payne, probably too. Okay, so now this category is probably, they're all reliable to their own self, but I think that Chris Paul and Russ have a slight edge to Cameron Payne, not knowing them both, not knowing how their life changed, and how they change through their daily life, and how emotional states affect them. But They all go through life. Don't worry about it. Everybody is going through their own thing. It's not you're not exclusive. Everybody is going through, even guys like CP. So now we go to truthfulness. To truthfulness. And what is truthfulness? It's just being true to yourself that, hey, this is me, this is my code, this is my character, and I'm not, if something is coming up, I mean, I have a workout in the morning, but people are calling me to a party this night, and 100% of the time, I'm betting my life on it that Chris Paul, if he goes to the party, he drinks one drink and goes to bed on time and is working out at 5 a.m. full sweat on and focusing on the details. Focusing on the details, and after that, he has a great meal, and probably Russell Westbrook too. Probably even Cameron Payne right now, but I doubt that that's on that level. Okay, I doubt that. I'm pretty sure that probably Cameron Payne misses some of the workouts, or doesn't have the attention to detail in the workouts as Chris Paul does and Russ. But I'm guaranteeing you that Chris Paul doesn't miss his film sessions that he studies the game. Why? Because probably he loves the game more than Russ and Cameron Payne. Okay, that's the difference. Russ loves stats more than he loves the game actually right now. Okay, and Cameron Payne is just he probably looks like he's really happy playing in the NBA, and he's satisfied with his role, as it seems. Why I'm telling this story is because, hey, Chris Paul is the least athletic player of those three, and he has the most success. So what is success? Last time we talked about success and had the definition of the success of what is success. And success is success is actually being very good at a certain skill, but it doesn't matter that you're good. So Chris Paul, I don't think it really matters to him that he's really good. He just seeks for growth and understanding the game and studying the new guys that are coming in and studying new plays and finding ways to improve himself. Russell Westbrook really cares about what he wears. Okay, I mean, we all care about what we wear, but he cares really about how he comes to the game, the glamour, the triple doubles, the stats, the mean mugs. And Cameron Payne, he looks like a happy-go-lucky guy, and he doesn't really care about anything. He just likes to hoop, which is fine. Saying just from my observations. Courage. What is courage? Courage is not having no fear. Courage is actually having fear, but still going to the battle and doing your thing no matter what. No matter what. And this category is won by Chris Paul by a mile. And now I'm going to tell you why. Listen. To be on all of those teams that he's been, and to be on Team USA, and a guy named Kobe Bryant, he tells the media that the biggest dog is Chris Paul, and that means that if Kobe says that he will go to war with Chris Paul, that means that little dude has the most courage out of all players, and you can tell by his game winners, clutch shots. A lot of those players crumble in pressure times. Pressure can bust pipes, but it can make diamonds. And Russ is just busting pipes, man. Cameron Payne has some really good clutch situation moments. but Chris Paul like wins this category a lot. And this is just, I'm just telling you here, from these three categories so far, if you're reliable and truthful to yourself each and every day, you're not missing workouts, and you're doing the reps 100% with 100% absorption and focus, and you're studying film, you're doing your meditations, and also when terror comes up in your system, in your body, and when you feel the emotional, oh my God, I gotta make a clutch shot, and you still go at it and you still shoot it with courage, and you don't follow those energies of low vibrations, of low thoughts, of low emotions, you are building your house brick by brick, and you will be naturally courageous, and fear will just be an energy that you will observe and just let go and move on your way. So now, adaptability. Well, let's look at Russ here. Do I need to say a lot? Played for the Houston Rockets, didn't work out. Chris Paul played for the Houston Rockets, twice lost to the Warriors, which is not that bad because, hey, the Warriors are a dynasty. Russ could not adapt in Washington either. He didn't adapt in Houston. He didn't adapt with Paul George and Melo. Cameron Payne is really good at adaptability, but I'm not sure if it's adaptability or just fear of not reaching his full potential. CP, while you can say he doesn't have a ring, you can say that, but winning a ring, a lot of circumstances have to come your way, which is, I'm not defending Chris Paul here, because we are all manifesting through every millisecond, and everything is frequency, energy, and vibration, and he was not manifesting to the ring because he has a little more work to do. You can see that in some situations he's too anxious to win the game. He's a control freak. But as far as adaptability, I mean, every team that he comes on, it's a 50-win team. So Chris Paul wins this category too. So this is 4-0. So you got to be adaptable. You got to understand everything that is coming around you. You got to have constantly an active mind and understanding who's where, who's what, who's doing what on the court and off the court, and then have really good social skills so you can have meetings with people, drinking coffee, having parties, and actually being a really good teammate. Okay. Stability. That's the last category before we end the video. So what is stability? Being stable in situations where it's not fitting you. There's a graffiti here in my neighborhood where they say Adisi Kadnisi, which means where are you where you're not, where how can I translate it? Where Adisi Kadnisi, which means, where are you where everything is not going your way. So if something is not going your way, it doesn't mean you gotta give up. Like Chris Paul had a very tough time when he left Houston, when he was traded for Russell Westbrook. And a lot of people said that that was the biggest mistake of the Rockets, and you can see that it was, because from that point, Russell Westbrook left, they lost in the playoffs, James Harden left, and now they're a lottery team. But first, Chris Paul left. That was the first thing. And Clint Capella, don't forget about him. Every big man that plays with Chris Paul becomes much better. DeAndre Jordan, Clint Capella, Steven Adams, DeAndre Ayton. Guards too. You can just look at the guards that he played with, and all of those guys, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, James Harden, Devin Booker, all of those players are better, and the role players. So he is stable. He is a stable human being. He understands that no matter what happens, he has his deep confidence inside of him built brick by brick through daily activities and not listening to the limiting thoughts of his mind, just going and working and resting the proper way, eating the proper way, and disciplining himself and understanding that life without discipline and focus is kind of a drag, and it's hard to live it. It's hard to live like that because everything is in nature. Everything is made out of sacred geometry, and geometry is really like precise. And when you are really precise, that's when people really acknowledge you and they marvel at you. Why? Because they see the work that you put in. And that's why Chris Paul won all of these categories, and I will repeat all of these categories so you can write them down. Reliability, truthfulness, courage, adaptability, and stability. And we mean everything on an emotional and mental level. And you do that through your daily life and schedule. You can schedule your workouts, you can schedule your yoga sessions, you can schedule everything. And do them no matter what. And your resting sessions, and your meals, and whatever. You can schedule all of those things, and you are finishing them and doing them no matter what, and understanding that it is building you as a person, spirit, everything. Because it changes your biochemistry in the brain. It changes the way your hormones work. And if you're also in balance with the gunas of the day, the passion guna, the balance guna, and the dark guna, the sleep guna, then you will have a really, really successful life because you're living one with nature, with the Tao, with the flow of life. And yes, always go by your heart, because your heart is where the spirit lives. Always go by it when making, I wouldn't say tough life decisions, but like life decisions that will steer the direction either right or to the left. Doesn't mean that either is wrong or right. It's just this is one's going here, this one's going here. Okay. So what I wanted to say is you are building your basketball game not only through skill. Skill is secondary. This is number one. This is how you build and how you become a great teammate, great team player, and then a great player as like, you know, superstar, all-star, whatever, Hall of Famer. This is how it's done. This is how it's done. It's through daily life. And yoga, what yoga means is now. It means you are now. Yoga doesn't start when you do the poses, when you do the breathing sessions or meditations. No, yoga starts when yoga is every moment. Yoga is when in your life you are walking down the street and a passenger asks you name of the street where he should go, and you give him your best answer and your best. You give him your best. You always give your best to everybody, and that's how Chris Paul goes about his day. He always gives his best. He's always reliable. He's reliable because he's reliable to himself. He's always speaking the truth. He's always, wherever he goes, he's the same person. Same person. And that's what yoga teaches, is that you give your best in every single moment, and that way you're releasing karma and you're releasing all of the mental patterns that you have inside, that we all have laziness, anxiety, fear, desires, low instinct desires. See, yoga is when you are sitting at home and you have a child in your home, which are you're babysitting, and you're giving that child the best time of his life. That's yoga. Yoga is helping your mother wash dishes if she needs, if she asks, or if you know. That's yoga. That's yoga. And the poses and the meditations are just to calm the mind, the nervous system down, and to understand yourself at a more profound level. I wouldn't say deeper, because all that you have is inside your heart, and the real self is always here, and it's always it's always when you feel it, the real self. When you feel during yoga or meditation that deep inner peace, that's because you're one with your inner self, and that means you decluttered your mind and put all of the baggage behind, and then you found it, and it's always there. But sometimes you don't feel like it's there because there's a lot of thoughts and a lot of mental activity that you don't need. And what yoga really means is just lowering the mental activities and being one with the self at each and every moment. And yoga is every single moment, and that's the secret of basketball. Namaste.